What I love most of all about winemaking is seeing the full year. The vines growing, harvest, fermentation, blending, bottling, and really realizing how many people were involved in creating a bottle of wine. It's living.
It's a lot more intuition than science. If we bring in the highest quality fruit, the wine will make itself and express itself. We have full-time vineyard staff at each location in Napa and in Sonoma whose jobs are to farm our vineyards and pay attention to them on a daily basis. And they're passionate about what they're doing.
It's so important to honor all of the people that really make it happen here. I love that full circle.
That investment into the work really equates to pride and quality.
I think the best and the most accurate winemakers are watching every detail, and that's super important. You really have to have every I dotted, every T crossed. When you miss one of those, you can tell.
If I'm being truthful, it's stressful. Perfection is subjective.
There's a lot of pressure, and I am a perfectionist, but to be able to continue this legacy that they've had for nearly 50 years is really an incredible honor. Joe Phelps was a great businessman, and being a builder, ended up coming out to California in the late 60s, early 70s. And at that point, there was just a handful of wineries in the Napa Valley. He took a chance.
Phelps was very much an innovator and one of the first blended table wines in California, being the first to varietally label Syrah. The early days of dabbling with Pinot Noir, Phelps was really willing to look outside the box.
He had this vision to purchase land early on. So we have a portfolio of really incredible vineyards. He didn't want to make the most wine possible. He wanted to make the best. And that's always been ingrained in our philosophy here of less is more. In close to 50 years, I'm the fourth winemaker at Joseph Phelps Vineyards. I studied chemistry and biology at college and was a chef after my college career. I wanted to understand that relationship of using my palate, using my science background, and understanding how that can all come together in something as amazing as a glass of wine. I applied for a position at Joseph Phelps as an intern in the harvest of '99 and never left. My philosophy is to really allow the different vintage variations to really shine through. I don't want a monolithic wine every year. So I work with the vintage and take the best from that vintage to showcase it in our blends. We're blessed that we have the ability to work with such high quality fruit and year after year make a consistent wine, but show that vintage variation that a wine lover really wants to see.
Joe had the foresight to understand that this was going to be one of the premier areas to grow Chardonnay and a world-class Pinot Noir. Freestone is located in West Sonoma County. The Pacific Ocean is probably the biggest terroir influence on Freestone. It is a great temperature moderator, so we don't get too hot and we don't get too cold. And I think that leads to a really good growing condition for Pinot Noir and Chardonnay here. Climate is a genuine concern. Here on the Sonoma Coast, we're generally buffered from extreme climate change. My career in the wine industry was very serendipitous. I didn't graduate from college. I don't have a winemaking degree. All my experiences on the job starting at the age of 19. I looked at the opportunity that Phelps gave me as my shot. It's something that I'll never forget.
One thing that Joe always instilled was never rest on your laurels. It's my job to continue that. So we're always experimenting. That's the only way you'll ever improve. And Joe knew that. There's a lot of technology at our fingertips. I also want to be really cognizant of not manipulating a wine too much.
There's a lot of things that you can add and do to wine to either get more color, more tannin, less tannin. That's not my approach. I prefer to work with the grapes how they are naturally coming into the winery. If we have the highest quality fruit, the healthiest fruit, we're going to make a good wine without much manipulation.
Climate change, our workforce change. We're always going to need to meet a challenge in the future. And like Joe did early on, was make himself really surrounded by great people. And we still have that today. At the end of the day, people love to sit around with friends and family and loved ones and enjoy a really nice bottle of wine.